everybody. Today on Cooking in the Kitchen with Sylvia, I'm going to show you how I make my beef taquitos. These are rolled taquitos on corn tortillas. But the first thing we want to do is prepare our meat for our beef taquitos. So here I've got about 1.5 pounds of chuck roast. You can use round, that works too. We've got about half an onion, 2 bay leaves, 2 garlic cloves that I chopped. We've got salt, pepper, and a little oil to cook our meat. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is you get your pot and you want to put a little oil on the bottom just to heat up caramelize our onions a little bit. So we want to have like a medium heat. We want to put our onions in. Those heated a little bit. Just want to caramelize them a bit. This will bring out the sweetness of the onions. You can use a yellow onion. You can use a white onion. If you caramelize it a little, the nice sweet juices of the onion come out. So just give that a quick little toss. You don't have to cook them long. We're going to cook this meat similar to how I cook the tamale filling. If you ever get a chance to check out my beef tamales on my website, it's a similar type recipe, except we're not adding chilies and things like that. We're just cooking the meat until it gets soft, easy for us to shred. Okay, so I'm going to toss in my garlic cloves. And just give that a quick little heat through. The garlic cloves will enhance the flavor of the oil. Just cook them down just a little. You can brown them a little bit if you like. For the sake of my recipe, I'm not going to overcook the onions, but I just want you to know that you don't want to burn the garlic, so be careful with that. But you just want them to heat through. Okay, so here we're going to put in our meat. Just toss in your beef chunk. Okay. And we want to add some more seasoning. Of course, our bay leaf. We're going to add some salt. For this amount of meat, I usually add about a teaspoon of salt. You want to season that. And usually I add some garlic. And about half a teaspoon is good. And I'm going to add a little bit of black pepper. Not too much, but just a little, just to give it some seasoning. You put a little more if you like. And we're going to cover this with water. So make sure you have enough water here to go about, I would say, 1/2 inch over your meat. We are going to bring this to a boil. When the meat starts to foam up, you want to remove that foam. It's actually just impurities you don't want in your meat, so scoop that out when it starts to boil. And then we're going to simmer the meat in a medium to high heat and let that meat cook down for about 1.5 hours to almost 2 hours. Depends on how much meat you have, but this will take probably almost 2 hours to get that meat cooked down thoroughly and make it soft so that it's easy to shred for our taquitos. So I'm going to get that going. I'm going to have that boil through, and then I'll show you how to scoop out the impurities on that. Okay? Okay, we've got our meat. It came up to a boil. This is the one I was talking about, the foam that accumulates on the top of your the surface of your container. So all you want to do is scoop it up. You can use a little strainer or you could just use a spoon. So just go around, scoop it up. That's going to get tossed away. These are impurities that come up when you cook meat or chicken. You just want to get as much of it as you can. You don't have to get every single drop, but just scoop away what you can and that'll be good. Okay. So there we go. We've got our meat, came to a nice boil. You want this to lower the fire just a little bit to get medium to high heat. Get this meat to cook for at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours. Keep an eye on it. If you start to lose too much water, go ahead and add maybe a half a cup to a cup of water. You don't want to dry out and burn the meat. So bring the fire down just a little. Keep it on a hot, simmer it for about almost 2 hours. Keep an eye on it. And then I'll show you how we shred our meat, okay? I'll be back. Okay, I've cooked down the meat. This took about an hour and a half. If you notice that most of the water, actually just about all the water has evaporated. The meat is now soft and tender, so now it's easy for me to shred it. Now, if you do wind up with extra water or liquid, that's okay. You can always reserve that and save it for broth. But the main thing, I wanted to just make sure I didn't lose all those juices, so I went ahead and just carefully watched it, that it didn't burn off, that it did dissolve most of the water. Take out the bay leaves. You don't need those anymore. The onions and the garlic have already infused in the meat as it was cooking down. So now all I need to do, you can take it out in a plate or another bowl if you want. Right now the meat is already soft. It's easy for me to just, use my spoon and shred it in the container. And it's probably easier to just do it here now that the meat is soft. So let me go ahead and shred it up, and then I'll show you how we can put our taquitos together. Okay, I shredded the meat, and like I said, you can use the liquid that was, let the liquid just cook down until it's pretty much gone, and mix your shred up your meat while it's in the pot, or you can do it in a separate container. But this will keep it nice and warm. So now I'm going to show you how to get the tortillas ready and get them ready to fry them up. So I've got about a quarter oil, cooking oil, like canola oil, vegetable oil, heating in this pan. They're not going to be deep fried, but they will be submerged in some oil and make them all crispy. So what I want to do is I want to show you how to prepare the tortillas. Now normally you could just heat the tortillas individually on another pan, but to save you some time, here's an easier way to do it. So you can take your corn tortillas. What I did is I just drizzle a little drops of oil, vegetable oil or canola oil, and just put them on there like this. So put a few more drops, just brush it like that. You can even use a napkin to brush it for you. Just put it on top and do the same thing. And what we're doing here is we need to make these corn tortillas pliable so that they're easy to roll. So what I do is I just flip them over one more time, just kind of give them a quick little brush. Since the oil was already on one side, it helps coat the other side too, so you don't have to keep putting oil. Now what you want to do here is you can put it in a microwavable container. A plate is fine. You can cover it with a cover if you have one. If not, just cover it with a paper towel or even another plate, so that when you pop it in the microwave, it just needs to be in there for about 1 minute. It'll heat up your tortillas and it'll make them soft. So I'm going to pop these in the microwave for 1 minute, and then I'll show you how to roll them. Okay, I heated the tortillas in the microwave for about a minute. Actually, I gave them a minute and a half because I've got about 10 of them in here, and I want to make sure that they're all soft. So yes, they are. They're no longer hard. They're nice and soft and pliable. So now we can start building our taquitos from here. So what you want to do is you just want to grab a little bit of your meat, fill in your little taquito here, your tortilla. You can taste the meat to make sure that it's to your liking, but from what I've already seasoned, that's more than enough filling. So they're still a little warm, so just be extra careful. You can let them cool a little bit more if you want, but I'm kind of used to holding things that are a little on the heat. So they're nice and soft. This saves you a lot of time, and instead of having to stand over the stove for another 10 minutes heating them one by one, the microwave method kind of works. So don't fill them too much though, because you want to make sure that they roll up. And these are little taquitos, so just give it a little roll. Put them seam side down so it holds in place. Usually I like to separate them a little bit as I'm going, so that way they're easier to roll. You don't want the meat, real wet. You like it a little bit dry, so it doesn't leak all over your hot oil. Okay, so that's really what we want to do. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start with these. And what you want to do is carefully bring your platter over by the oil, and you can see it's hot, so just holding the seam side down, carefully put it in the hot oil. Okay? It's going to splatter a little bit, and just try to hold it there in place. Do the same with the other one. You can probably put about 4 one time. Remember, this is hot oil splattering, so don't stay too close. So I just want to show you what we're doing here. Okay, so once it starts to kind of set in its way, you can kind of feel it. So it's starting to get a little hard and crispy on the bottom. So you just want to give them a little turn. I don't like to fill them too much because I don't want too much of that meat juices to splatter in the oil, but I do want them to be filled. So give them a little turn. Yeah. You want these to be crispy. I've got a paper towel here, splatter to get them drained. To be golden brown a little bit. See how they're getting crispy? See, now the oil has minimized because there's no more of the meat juices that are coming out, so it's a little safer now to get closer. So just do that. And as you start to get to the color you like, which is, you can tell that they're already getting golden and crispy, just transfer them to the paper towel, let them drain there a little bit, and then you can do another batch. So let me finish these, and then I'll show you how we can serve our little taquitos. Okay, this is my last batch. I was able to make about 24 taquitos with the meat that I had. My husband sampled a few and he said he liked them. So this all we need to do is just make sure you use a low fire. You don't want a really high fire. Keep the fire to a low and just keep turning them. This way they won't splatter as much. And as long as you keep control of that fire, that it doesn't get too hot, you won't burn your taquitos. They'll come out nice and crispy. You just have to drain them on a paper towel, and just before you're ready to serve them. Now this makes a great dish for potluck. It's great for football games, as that's coming around, Super Bowl's coming around the corner. You can eat them as is, the way they are there. As far as serving them, you can serve them on a platter like this. I like to serve them for my family. when I'm serving them as an individual serving for them. I like to place a little lettuce, top it with a little cheese, and a little bit of sour cream. Trust me, these are going to be a hit. They taste a lot better than the store-bought taquitos. For one thing, they're homemade. They're really fresh. You can serve them with your favorite guacamole, which is what I made earlier today. Serve that on the side. I'm sure your family will enjoy this recipe. My guacamole recipe is on my webpage if you want to learn how to make that. So here you go, my beef taquitos. They're not deep fried, but they are fried tortillas with meat filling. Hope you get a chance to try this recipe, and I'll catch you again. Bye bye.